hotel shouldn't be too expensive. We're staying at room 13. Usually airy and usually very, and that's just how my life goes. And I don't ever try to dress to impress. Fuck you, preppy assholes. On the 14th floor where the bathroom door don't lock. So happy we don't gotta worry about the cops. We could all get arrested for this, but when the police mix, I don't give a shit tonight. Alright. She walks in the bedroom fast, despite all the noise from the crowd. Now she's bedless on the bathroom sink. Her mother would be so proud. Gets on a deed and there's a line to go pee, but the bathroom looks like a war zone.
Welcome in to episode 158 of Phired Up. Check us out at firedupsports.com. I'm Mike Gilletto. Joining me as always, Dom Console. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? I'm joining you from purgatory, apparently.
Listen, better late than never. Your computer finally decided to kick the bucket tonight.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's just the charger. I have to use this my wife's work laptop. So
the picture's clear, but the color's a little off.
Did you ever see Halloween Town?
Yes.
You know, and like I think it might be the second one when like the villain like takes everybody's soul from like the town.
Yes.
And the town just looks like this color.
Yes, you look like you belong in the cast of Dawn of the Dead, basically.
Right. Sounds about right.
But other than that, you know, it's fine. Listen, it's better that we're on than not, right? So
sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I definitely didn't want to try to cancel this week, so I think it's better to look dead than to not be on.
Right, exactly. It's a good way of looking at it. Trey's back. That's a good thing. Well, he didn't do a whole lot tonight. Not that I've seen, but the Phillies are back. Phillies, hit a single. Just him being in the lineup is a bonus.
Yeah, especially after the week that they just had. Listen, I know they went to London. You come back from London. You play 2 straight road series. Boston's, I think, a little underrated. I think they could have won that series.
They hit. The pitching is not the greatest, but they hit.
I think and listen, they faced their ace this week, and outside of that, I agree. But yeah, I think Boston's a little underrated. And Baltimore, we know Baltimore's a top 5 team in the league, top 3 team in the league. So, and being on the road, you know, I think coming back home. That's why I wasn't like too concerned. I just wanted to wait to see them come home to see if the hitting struggles were still, or the hitting woes were still, upon us.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
doesn't look like it tonight. But
I was gonna say
just one game.
It is one game. Is the game over yet?
Yeah, it just ended.
Okay, I was about to turn it on. I guess there's not no reason to do that now. There is a basketball game on tonight, right?
I said it in the group chat. It's crazy how we'd rather have Kyle Schwarber in June than Babe Ruth.
I don't know if that's tough. Like tonight he hit what, 2?
Yeah, statistically in his career he's like
I understand that. But
I just mean the month of June. That's all.
But like this month he only has what 4 or 5 home runs. I mean that's a lot in the course of a 3-week stretch. I think it was 3 going into tonight. Like I don't think he's been crazy good this June.
He had one. He had one in Baltimore, right? It was the first game. It was Friday night that he led off with a homer. Tonight might have been 4 and 5. It may have been.
Yeah, I don't think he was great in June until this point.
Yeah, up until he had 2 before last week, so he had 2 in the first week of June, and then I think he had 2 tonight, and then 1 in Baltimore. But listen, there's still 12 days left of June.
Sure, yeah,
he still hit another 5.
In June, he's I don't have a total. Damn it, never mind.
And I think it is 5.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, 2, 3. Yep, 3 before tonight. 2 of which came in the same game.
Correct.
So 2 of his 3 came in the same game. So
One in
basically,
Baltimore.
right, yeah, 1 in the first game in Baltimore. Yeah, he had 2 in Boston when they came back from London.
Yes.
He had 2 that game, and then 1 in Baltimore, the first game of that series, and 2 tonight. So.
But he's also it's not just the homers either. I think his numbers are like he's got a couple singles.
Sure.
I think what did I hear? He's hitting 300 since like a certain date. Forget what the date was, but
yeah, I mean he's because like he hasn't been. I mean his power hasn't been. The last 2 years of Schwarber this year so far, like his home run numbers have dipped, but you're seeing the average. I mean, he's like Hall of Fame level for his average. No, well, sure, exactly, but
as I'm saying, there's still 12 days of June left.
Yeah, but I think I'm talking about
another 5.
I'm talking about the year total. I think he's only. I think he's like on pace for like 25 home runs, if that even.
For sure. But his June through August is his like he hits like 25 homers in that span. That's look at his numbers the last 2 years, even in May and June.
I mean,
haven't heard, April and May.
I haven't heard anybody really talk about it. Is there a chance he thinned out a little too much? Doesn't have as much pop? Because he is thinner. He
thinned out. He definitely thinned out.
He thinned out.
I mean, listen. Would you take? What would you rather have? Would you rather have? And I'm not saying he'll do this, but if you had a choice, would you?
I had this exact conversation with my father last week about what I thought with the scenario that I think you're going to bring up. So I'm curious.
Would you rather him hit like hypothetically, like
throw out 250?
I was gonna say 250, 255.
Yeah, sure.
And he hits 30 homers. I was going to say 30.
Okay. All right.
Hits 30 homers, has the most singles he's ever had in his career, has the most doubles, whatever it is. Or would you rather have the 46 and hit a $190, 200, whatever? I think both are valuable in different ways.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. What? How many? Are the RBI numbers similar in these scenarios? I mean, theoretically, if you hit 40, go ahead.
But I say before last year, I don't think he really was like I don't think he's ever had over 100 RBIs in his career before last year,
which is crazy for the amount of home runs he hits. But
well, that's the thing. Before the Phillies, dude, he was like a 25 30 homer hitter. Like he wasn't. So what are we saying here?
So either
RBIs.
Right.
I mean around that
around
85
90,
to 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on both scenarios.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think if RBIs are equal, I think it's more valuable to have the 250 hitter.
Okay. I think depending on the way that the what do you call it? The way that the line, like let's say hypothetically they go out and they trade for Robert or another like a power
who since he came back from injury looks great.
Yes. Let's say hypothetically that's the guy. I think Schwarber's more valuable if you go out and get a power hitter behind Harper.
Sure. Because they really don't have one. Like if Schwarber does take the step back power wise, they don't have anybody to hit 30.
No.
Like maybe Harper can get there if he heats up a little bit.
Harper will get there. He's over 30. I think this year. Okay. Maybe not 30. Maybe 30. Maybe like 35. What's he got?
Sure.
15 right now.
Is it that many? Hold on. Because I know people are like, I know people bring up like Harper, like MVP discussion. Like he's probably in the top 3 or 4, but like he's having kind of a down year for his standard.
I think
like he hasn't really gotten going yet.
I don't agree with that at all. I think he's right where he usually is.
He does have 15 home runs.
Close to 47 RBIs, 48,
46, 46.
And then
280.
Yeah, no, that's who he is.
Okay, he's. I thought that the average was closer to like 265. I think he's kind of gotten going over the last week or two.
Yeah, even longer than that, honestly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he did have a rough stretch, especially early on. He was hitting the ball hard though. Like it wasn't like the struggles that like Stott was having earlier this year or Castellanos. He was hitting the ball hard.
Sure.
But yeah, I is he going to be a 40+ homer guy? Probably not. But no, I think he hits over 30.
Is he the only 30 home run guy you got? I mean, if JT's healthy for the whole year, do you think he touches 30? Probably not, right? 20.
What's he at right now. You know,
I mean, he's obviously going to miss some time. I don't know if head. Did they say? I mean, did they say
he comes
when
back in 3 weeks. He comes back in 3 weeks.
Is that what it is? Okay.
They said possibly it's probably going to be about a month, and it happened last week. So they said he's already on the bike. Like he's already working on the riding the bike and everything. So dude, he's like Harper, like we were saying last year. They are not built like us, you know.
Sure.
I don't think he's built like Harper, but like he's much more closer to being built to Harper than he is to me and you. So
clearly, but he also a catcher, which is a more physically demanding position
for sure. But he also played through it too a little bit.
Yeah,
he wanted to play. He wanted to play in the London series. So I think it happened the night. It was Tuesday. The Tuesday against Milwaukee. Remember when he had that like rough night, like not statistically, but like what happened? He took the ball off the dick.
Yeah.
I could see that maybe happening that night because I think there was somebody ran into him, didn't they, or somebody slid into him?
I don't remember specifically, but I remember that play where he got yeah.
He had like a rough night behind the dish that night.
Yep.
So he definitely played at least a couple games after that. I just think they didn't want it to nag him all year, and you might as well just get the surgery in June instead of it blowing up in September. You know.
7 home runs, by the way, for JT.
Okay, he's probably at like the 20 to 25 mark, like he usually is. Yeah. Bohm's probably at the same thing at this point.
Agreed.
18 to 23, probably. Marsh is probably around that.
Soon to
12.
be all-star Alec Bohm, by the way.
Sure is. Marsh is around that like 12 to 15.
He's kind of slowed down a little bit, Marsh.
Well, he's been hurt.
Yeah, but like I remember the first like 3-4 weeks of the season, he was on fire. He was great.
This happened last year too with him and Bohm, where they were hitting insane numbers. And don't get me wrong, Bohm's getting going, and I you know, but like let's just pump the brakes a little bit with some of these guys. I know we like them. I love these guys. I think they're perfect. Locker room guys. I think that they're, you know, really good complementary pieces, but like, let's stop anointing these guys because we like them.
Sure.
But they are important pieces to a team. Like, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I think Harper's the only guy that's outside of, unless Schwarber just goes on a tear. Yeah, I guess Harper's the only guy I can think of.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why. I mean, I know we talked about it last week a lot about going out and get Robert, but like it's going to cost you the Aiden Millers, the maybe the Painters, maybe the
I saw a hypothetical.
Okay.
So there were two different ones. There was one with Aiden Miller and one without Aiden Miller, and I would absolutely do the one without Aiden Miller.
Do you remember what it was?
It was Crawford, Abel, the shortstop. He's the 5th prospect, I think. I think he's the 5th rated prospect. So it's your second. No, because Painter's the 1, Miller's 2, right? No, Miller's 3. Is
Abel 2?
I think Abel's 2. I think
isn't Abel getting rocked down there in AAA?
Yeah, he's having a really bad year. I think. I mean, you could double check me, but I think it's Painter's the 1. Abel's 2, Miller's 3, Crawford's 4, and the shortstop's 5. So the hypothetical was like, I think it was Abel, Crawford, the shortstop, and like Johan Rojas for Robert.
So according to MLB.com, Painter's 1, Aiden Miller's 2, Abel's 3, Justin Crawford's 4, Starlin Caba,
maybe I was confusing. Maybe I was confusing Abel and Crawford because I think I assumed Crawford was the 2. I mean the 3.
Crawford's 4, Abel's 3.
Right, which I still don't know if I agree with that. But
what do you mean? Would you flip flop them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of over McAbel, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That was quick, right?
It was very quick. Both. Yes,
you and me both.
I'm kind of over him. Like, he was supposed to be this great top prospect. Like, I understand pitching is a weird game and everything, but like, you got at this point, he's not a young prospect by this point, you should be dominating AAA.
He could. Here's the thing: he could just be having a bad year. That's definitely possible.
Sure.
Also, there's no room for him. So like.
He's also never mind. He's 22. He's a year or two younger than I thought. I thought he was about 24. But
I thought he was like 24, 25.
Yeah. But this year he is 1-7 with a 6.93 ERA.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think his ERA is close to 7.
I mean that's terrible.
He started. I think he pitched yesterday or the day before. He gave up 7. He had 7 earned runs.
He's been terrible.
Yeah, but I think
I almost sent him back to AA.
There's enough there, I think, to show the White Sox, hey, he's 22.
Sure.
Not every great pitcher comes up and dominates right away.
Sure.
He's had a good track record everywhere from every level except AAA. I still think it's enticing for a team to.
And the White Sox have like a decent past of developing pitching. Like not great, but they've done it.
Chris Sale, Crochet's really good.
Dylan Cease.
Even Quintana was pretty.
Did Lance Lynn start there? I know he's been with 100 other teams, but did he start in?
I don't know where he started, but I know he was there.
Yeah.
But even Jose Quintana was really good at one point.
Really good for like a good 2-3 year stretch, and
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all right. Repeat the trade. Repeat this hypothetical again. It was Abel, Crawford, Kaba. I assume is the shortstop you're talking about, or are you talking about Brian Rincon?
Who's the number 5?
Starlin Kaba.
That's the guy.
Okay, I don't know much about either of those guys though. To be honest, I mean, after like the top 3 or 4, the top 4, I don't really know much about. Any of these prospects.
I think the top 5 prospects are all in the top 100.
Okay.
In baseball, I believe.
Okay, so all right, so it was Abel, Crawford,
Kaba,
and
I think it was Rojas.
Rojas?
Yeah, for Robert. Would you do that? Or the other hypothetical was swapping out Abel for Aiden Miller.
And you're still giving up the other guys?
Yeah.
Then no, I'd rather give Abel than Miller.
Right.
I think the hypothetical there is if you throw in Miller, maybe you could take out a Rojas or a Crawford or something like that. Because I think there is a big gap between Miller and Abel. I really do. In terms of ceilings.
I also is that too much?
Is it too much?
The Abel one?
I think we're value-wise, maybe it's not too much, but I kind of look at that trade, and yes, you're getting an outfielder back, but like Crawford and Rojas, like the Phillies are already extremely thin in outfield, in my opinion. And yeah, they'd be getting a great talent in Robert back, but I just think it leaves you even thinner in the outfield. But like, value-wise, it's probably fine. I mean,
but is it win now?
How
you know what I mean? Look at this. Robert's 26 years old. It's not like he's 30 or 33 or 32. He's 26 years old. Sure. He's here for the next, I think, 4 years. I think his contract.
He has a year after this one, with 2 club options after that, is what it looks like.
Okay.
So under control for the next 3 after this season.
Yeah. So 3.5, right? Yeah. If you trade for him today or at the deadline.
Right.
So he's 26 years old. Clearly he's got to stay healthy. But here's my thing. Like, I think I would take the shot with him. I don't know if I do that deal, but if I could get a deal somehow, and it's something that we're all comfortable with, I think I'd take the shot on him because he's 26 years old, because he's a great power hitter, because he, and the whole injury thing, and I know it's a different sport, but look at Drew Brees, right? Like, Drew Brees was in San Diego his first 4 or 5 years and couldn't stay healthy. And then he went to the Saints and everything changed. He went to a better run franchise, at least back then, than what the Chargers are or were. I just think that Robert comes here. It's a way better locker. It's probably the best clubhouse in the league. So it's a different locker room. It's a different city. There's passion in the stands every night. I just think you have a guy, or you have a situation where a guy could come here and say, you know what, I'm a little sore, but I might play tonight. Like,
sure.
And I think we can provide that, and he could provide that.
Sure. And also now I'm thinking about it. So you're back to this like hypothetical. I think if you got rid of Crawford or Rojas, I think I would do I mean, even that seems like too much. Like I'm trying to think. Like I would throw. Hypothetically, I would throw Aiden Miller in a trade without getting rid of those two guys. I think I would do like Aiden Miller, Mick Abel, and Starlin Cabo. Like, you think that's enough? Or 2, 3, and 5?
See, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would try my hardest not to give up Aiden Miller at all.
Here's the reason why I'm fine with it. Because the position, right? You have Trey Turner locked up for the next 10 years, right?
Sure.
You have we just talked about Alec Boehm being an all-star, third baseman. Where does Aiden Miller fit in that? And yeah, you can move things around and make it work, but I think where does he fit in that?
I think if he's good enough to where what he looks like right now, and he may not be this good, because I think he just moved to high A, and in his first high A game, I think he homered. He may not be that good, but right now he looks really good. And I think that when you have guys that look that good, you keep them. You work around it. Maybe he goes to the outfield. Maybe he plays right field in 2 years.
Sure.
Maybe he plays left field. Maybe what I mean.
But is he more Is he as valuable if you throw him in right field than as the shortstop third base combo you thought you were?
Yeah, because I think his bat is what makes him special. Personally, and you never know. Like they may trade Boehm. They may say Aiden Miller's really look at the Astros. I bring it up all the time. The Astros, they had Springer. They had
but the Astros have been notoriously, for lack of a better term, cheap. Like they don't pay their guys,
right?
Where the Phillies aren't that way,
right? But you don't know what they're going to pay Boehm. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like what I'm saying. The Astros look at it like the way the Astros do. I'm
sure.
Saying, you let Springer walk. You let who else? Altuve walk because you had guys that are already going to be as good or somewhat, or at least somewhere. Kyle Tucker, is better than Springer,
yes, but the Astros didn't have
Aiden Miller. Maybe Aiden Miller is better than Boehm, is what I'm saying. I
understand, and that could be true, but the Astros don't have a history of re-signing Chase Utley, re-signing Ryan Howard, re-signing
right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's the same guy in Houston that let those guys walk, also let Albert Pujols walk. It's the same. It's just that's just kind of what their philosophy was.
I'm not sure what you're trying to get at, though.
In terms of what? The Astros notoriously don't pay their players. Once they hit it big, they hit the market, they look for their replacement. The Phillies,
right?
The Phillies don't have
had it in the draft already. Is what I'm saying. They've
sure.
already produced the guys that are going to replace them. They if they didn't have those guys in the system to replace them, they would have re-signed them. Absolutely. They re-signed Altuve. They're not going to let Alvarez walk. They're not going to let Kyle Tucker walk, probably. You know what I mean?
But I'm hearing about them trading him.
They're not going to trade him.
You don't think so? I don't think it makes sense for them to trade him. I think
every time
I hear his name, it's crazy. He's great. And he's old school. He goes, no batting gloves. I don't understand how players do that in today's game.
And he's a left-handed power bat. You know what I mean? They're not easy to find.
He's a great player.
But no, I just I don't know. I think you have to take a look at it position by position. I don't think it's necessarily they just don't pay anybody. I just think it depends on the position. I think for the Phillies, if they feel that Aiden Miller is going to be better than Boehm, then they'll move on from Boehm for Aiden Miller. They'll take that chance. You could move Aiden Miller to the outfield. You know what I mean? I just think he's so much more valuable than Crawford because I think you could put Aiden Miller on the field anywhere. Maybe he plays center field. He's supposed to be a really good shortstop. You can play shortstop. Oh wow, they just hit a huge shot, a half-court shot at halftime. I think if you play a good shortstop, you can play anywhere on the field, and I think Aiden Miller provides that. JP Crawford can't just say JP go play shortstop, So I just think with Aiden Miller giving so much more of
Justin Crawford.
That's what I meant, not JP. God forbid.
That's not fair. JP made a nice little career in Seattle. He's fine. He's a fine player. Nowhere near
he's a bottom 15 shortstop, but
he's a good fielder. His bat.
I could definitely think of 15 better shortstops.
I'm fielding wise or just all around player?
All around player.
Yeah, probably right. That's probably fine.
Justin Crawford, yes. I just think with the value that Aiden Miller gives you, where he can play anywhere on the field, I think trumps Crawford, and I just don't want to give up. I'm not against giving up Aiden Miller. It's just got to be for the right guy. I'm not giving him up for Robert personally. As much as I just talked about his injury history, like I don't think you can give up a guy like that, like Painter or
So then
Miller.
you don't give him up at all because I don't know that there's going to be a guy available at the deadline that's better than.
Well,
Robert.
I mean,
think
within
Robert's
the next 2 years. I mean,
sure, okay.
Even in the offseason. Like I don't think I'd do that.
Right.
It just got to be somebody who's really, really worth it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Because I just don't see that. I think Robert's kind of the best guy available at this point, unless somebody gets surprisingly thrown out there. That I don't feel
yeah. There are a couple,
would you rather Robert or Trout? I think I'd go Robert at this point. Trout hurt. What's his deal? What's his deal?
I think that he's supposed to be back. I think after the All-Star break. The thing with Trout is, I think Trout would be the same way. I think if he's in a position where he can go win a position where there's incentive to play every night, I think it's a different story for his injury or for his career. But I think because Robert is younger, I'd probably lean that way, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's also cheaper. Like
money.
You're gonna pay Trout. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay Trout for the next 6 years, I think it is, or 7 years. Where Robert, you can make the decision in 2, 3, 4 years, whatever we just said, 4 years, 3.5 years. So I think you have Robert for the next 3 years. He'll be 28, 29 by the end of that contract, and you can sit there and say, all right, we'll either pay you or we won't.
Do you think you have to give up as much for Trout as you would for Robert, or no?
Probably. And I don't agree with it.
For sure. Well, the name and all that, yeah.
Right.
And he's still a great player. He's still a great
player. He's just got to stay on the field. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would take the shot if I had the opportunity and in the right deal, if you had him cheap enough and they also paid a portion of his contract, I would take the shot on Trout personally.
Yeah. He's a great player. Just got to stay healthy.
I don't agree with the people that say he's a loser. I don't think he's a loser.
I think he's a loser. I do think. I don't.
Why do you say that?
Because I think he would. And listen, I think there's a fine line when it comes to loyalty in sports. Like I respect guys that do stay loyal, but the fact that he was just perfectly fine with just rotting in LA when that team really didn't have.
But it didn't rot. It didn't. But that's not true though.
He played in 3 playoff games in his career.
Right, but
3 playoff games.
But listen. He signed the contract 1 year after Ohtani came over. It's not like Ohtani was a year away from leaving, and he signed. I'll sign.
Yeah, but
he was
26 years old. I understand, but the franchise was run horribly his entire tenure that he was with the team. Okay. Why not sign a 2, 3, 4 year? Hey, we're getting Ohtani. Let's see how it works out. Instead, he signs for the rest of his career there. It's like I'm fine with rotting in LA.
I hear you. Put yourself in that position. If you have a chance to sign a 13-year contract worth, what was it, $450 million?
Anybody's gonna be. He's Mike Trout. Anybody will be willing to pay him that money, whether it was that day or 4 years from then.
You might be right. You might be right. But he took his money. He knows he can leave whenever he wants. That's it's just that he doesn't want to leave because of the loyalty. My thing is he was 26, 27 years old when he signed that contract. It's not like he was 30 and was like, or 32 and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna rot here. Like it was a year after Ohtani signed. It was they had a couple pitchers drafted that were supposed to be better in 4 years when he hit 30. And I think he expected Ohtani to be. I think they expected to win. I don't think he sat there and said like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and rot in LA. I just think he genuinely was sold on the idea that, hey, we're going to be really good in 4 years, like in the middle of your contract. Like we're going to have Ohtani, who's going to be the Babe Ruth of today. Great pitcher, great hitter. I just think he was sold something that wasn't available or not available, but
Sure. I get it. Like baseball, it's hard for one guy to control the destiny or fate of an entire team. I understand that. But when I hear things about how he's one of the greatest baseball players to ever live, and you play 3 playoff games in 15 years or however long he's been in the league, to me, that's a failure.
But I don't think people sit there and say he's the best, one of the best players, generational player, because of anything other than the fact that he's one of the best.
Sure.
Or no, one of the best 5-tool players we've ever seen. He's a great fielder. He's a great base runner. He's a great hitter. You know what I mean?
Like a great base runner.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
In terms of what? Just
getting from first to third on a single,
right.
scoring from first base with the.
Does he steal bases? Like how many stolen bases does he have a year?
I'll check.
15. Like if that.
Yeah, but stealing bases isn't just being a great base runner.
No, I get that. I understand. It's about situational awareness and like I get it. I understand.
He had 49 in 1 year.
All right,
then
I'm
33.
All right,
30.
I stay corrected.
Okay, he's a great base runner.
Sure. All right, fair enough.
So I think that's why people say he's this generational talent, because Griffey was the same way. Griffey obviously hit 45 homers a year. I'm just saying, I think people are not just looking at, okay, he only had over 100 RBIs, 3 times in his career. Like, I don't think people are looking at that and saying, oh, he's this great generational player because he does that. I just think it's more of the fact that he's one of the very few 5-tool players that we've seen.
Sure.
And does it at a high level.
Yep.
I think that's why people, at least that's why I view him as good as he is. I don't think he's anywhere near Pujols or Griffey or Bonds or any of these great all-time players that we've watched. But I just think that because of the 5-tool aspect, I think that's why he gets the respect that he does.
Okay.
I just don't know. I don't think it's fair to say he knew what was going to happen in LA and he just decided to stay there. It was literally 1 year into Ohtani's career. They had prospects that just didn't pan out. And I don't know how that's his fault.
It's not his fault, but
so why is he a loser for staying?
He's played something playoff games in 15 years.
I understand.
How long has he been in the league? Has it been 15 yet?
2011 or 12.
Okay, so 12, 13 years.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying he's
and in those 3 playoff games, I think he's like what, a 150 average. Like he was.
I don't even know. I'm not sure. But
he might not have, or maybe one hit. I forget exactly what it was, but not good.
No, it's not. But like again, he hasn't had the opportunity either, and that's not his fault.
Yep. All right, fair enough.
Do you want to talk about like terrible front offices? Like they're one of the worst in sports.
Exactly. That's my point. Why stay?
Because at the point that he was at, it was 6 years ago that he signed the contract. They had Ohtani and they had the prospects that were supposed to pan out. That's what I'm saying. He's not. If it was today, I don't know that he signs that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's just my opinion. I mean,
and I also think disagree. I also think he's soft.
Yeah,
like his body just breaks down. And maybe that's unfair to call him soft, right. But like. I don't know.
And look how much Harper's played the last 3 years.
Sure, agreed.
Although
I don't think Harper's soft. I think Harper's actually tough as shit. But
I don't disagree with anything you just said. He might be soft as shit. Trout. I'm just saying. I think when he signed that contract, things were different, and now that the way that the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, however many years he's been into that contract, I think things are just different now. And he's viewed it differently, and maybe there is a little bit of regret. Maybe
you're Mike Trout when you're signing. What was that contract? Was it 15 years, 13 years?
No, I think it was 13,450.
When you're signing a 13-year contract, if you're Mike Trout, you're Mike Trout. They will literally sign the contract, whatever terms you say you want, they will give you. Why not put an opt out after 5 years?
Harper doesn't have an opt out.
Okay,
it's not important for every guy.
All right, fair enough.
And also. With, like I was saying, I just think things are a lot different the last few years because of the prospects not panning out, Ohtani leaving. I don't know that he and this whole thing where like I don't ever want to leave LA. I think he could, and I could be wrong, but he could be very well just playing good guy. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
maybe he doesn't want to be the villain. Maybe he does appreciate the Anaheim, and doesn't want to be a bad guy to them.
I think there's some truth to that.
So I don't think it's as black and white as
you,
you know,
as black as white as you right now.
Sorry, I was reading something.
No, I'm
Sorry.
saying you're.
Oh,
streaked.
yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
the longer we do this, the more I realize just how gray you are.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, honestly. I haven't even looked at myself. It makes me depressed.
Yeah, right now I am depressed.
Do you ever
looking at
watch
you. I
Harry
agree.
Potter? Do you ever see like any of the Harry Potters?
So I saw the first two and the last two, ironically.
Okay, so the last two, it probably happens more often than the last two and the first two. You know, when like
Okay.
the Death Eaters come and they suck out like
Yeah,
the souls.
Yep.
That's what I feel like right now.
That is what you look at. Yep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I look like what England looks like every day. Like if you go to England, like this is what it
Does
looks
it?
like.
Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, it's always gray.
I've never been.
Neither have I, but I've just seen pictures.
Maybe the camera was just gray that day. Maybe it's not actually gray.
No, I just think when you envision England, it's just never sunny. So this is what it looks like.
Isn't that Seattle? Doesn't it rain all the time in Seattle too?
The Seattle, Portland, all that.
Yeah.
I went to Portland one time and we went for 4 days. It didn't rain until the last day, and it was supposed to rain the entire weekend that I was there. It was like Thursday to Sunday.
What
it didn't
like
rain
time
till
of year?
Sunday. February?
No, because winters get like brutally cold there, don't they? Isn't it like cold?
No,
there?
it's no. It
Really?
Yeah, it's like I think like the coldest. So my brother lived there. Obviously, you know that.
Yep.
But for the listeners, my brother lived there, so he lived there for like 3 or 4 years. He said it only snowed once.
Really?
The entire time. Yeah, his kids, who are from Portland, they've that's the first time they ever saw snow.
Really?
Yeah,
I see. I would think it would snow there a
the
lot.
coldest.
I don't know why I would think that.
No, the
coldest
coldest.
is so far north. I don't know.
Yeah, the coldest that it gets is like 45, 40, 35.
Yeah, but isn't there spots in like, I mean, I guess different like, but it's not that far out. But there's spots like Northern California that like get pretty cold and like snow and shit.
Yeah, because they're right in the heart of the mountains. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think Portland and Seattle are mountainy. I mean, Seattle is because of the volcano, but it's the volcano. It's not really.
Yeah,
it's the Rockies.
Huh.
But yeah, it doesn't get like super cold. I mean, it gets cold, but it doesn't get like.
The colder here, though, you would think. Or you're saying?
Yeah, it's definitely colder here. Yeah. We're probably about equivalent. Like.
No,
what Portland is.
Really, I don't think they're more north.
Mm-hmm. No, we're pretty.
Now
looking on a map now.
I was gonna say now you're gonna be pulling up maps and shit.
All right, they're probably they're equivalent with like more like New York and Boston, but it's not that much.
Okay. All right. I mean. Yeah. See, I keep looking at. I'm psyching myself out looking at this map because like again, it's so like it's north. Like,
yeah, it's weird. I don't know why.
It's almost even with like Detroit and Chicago. It's actually more north than Chicago. And Chicago, like, it's cold as shit.
Yeah. I don't know why. That's what I was told. I when I went to Portland it was February, it was like 40, 45 degrees.
Really? That's
and sunny.
Me.
Yeah, and it rains a lot in the winter. Like from
right.
It's like September to like March is like or April is like the rain season, and then it gets really nice in summer. It's like not too hot either. It's like I think like 85.
Well, it's probably not as much humidity as over here. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
But that's geography lesson of the day. Again, that's just what I was.
There was no lesson in there.
No.
I don't think.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Maybe not even geography. Definitely.
Meteorology.
Yeah, meteorology.
Class.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say anything else about the Phillies. Sanchez pitched great tonight. There's really, I mean, I know Nola wasn't great his last outing, but it's one game. I'm not really too concerned there. So Wheeler didn't have his best stuff either the other night. Yeah.
So I think it's the first time Wheeler's in his career has given up 4 home runs in one game.
In his career?
The Nola thing. So Chris and I went to Baltimore on Friday night, and because it was coming off the Nola game the night before, I think it was. and I got in the car, and we're not even within 5 minutes. He's like, I fucking hate Nola, and he was like, this is why I hate him. He's like, I try to tell you guys, this is why I hate him. I'm like,
One
relax,
game,
man.
relax.
You're right.
And also you also don't know what the London trip did to like their preparation, the jet lag, and all that travel.
And they also sat extra games too, which both of those guys hate apparently.
Right. Yeah, so it's I almost throw the Baltimore game just out the window for Nola.
Yeah. No, Boston.
Or I'm sorry, the Boston game. Yeah,
Yep.
it's Boston.
Yeah.
Listen, just thank God Liam wasn't in attendance in Baltimore while you were there. We know how he feels about Liam Castellanos.
Yes.
I haven't seen him yet. I mean, school should be over. Like he's maybe.
I think tonight was the first home game.
Yeah,
he was able to go
there.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see him tonight though.
Me neither.
Maybe he's grounded.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if he gets grounded. I don't think it's a
maybe not.
Anything else with the Phillies? There's really not. I mean, it's all again. They're. It's hard for me to even call this like a slump. Like they had a couple losses. Yeah, like they're still in first place.
It happens.
Cruising. Exactly. I think I said it last week. Like with how far ahead they are in the race and how many games they've won so far, I'm not gonna nitpick. I'm just gonna keep riding it until the deadline. We'll talk about what they should or shouldn't do, and that's it.
I also think that every great team does this too. Like Atlanta did it last year. They're probably going to lose 8 of 10 at some point. Like,
sure,
it's 162 games. It's a marathon. It's a grind. So like those things happen to even great teams. Maybe this was their equivalent to losing 8 out of 10, and it's just not 8 out of 10. Like, or maybe it comes later. I don't know. But I think this is the worst they've looked all year, or at least in a long time. And like, I'm not worried.
No.
Especially, I mean, maybe if like Thursday or Friday or Saturday rolls around and they're still struggling, like let's say like tonight was just, a great game and then they kind of go back to it, I think I'd be a little concerned. But listen, they went to London, came back to America, played 2 straight road series, like we said, and maybe that's just what the woes were.
Or like the only way I might get not even like nervous, but like I might start to look at it a little deeper is like if the next outing Nola and Wheeler get rocked again. Sure. So then you're like, all right, hopefully this doesn't also linger on. You know what I mean?
How much of that is the catcher, too?
Sure.
Because these were the first games that they pitched, or Wheeler pitched with.
They've both pitched with Stubbs.
Sure,
before.
but look at their numbers with Stubbs and with JT.
I'd have to do it deeper.
Drastically different. I think Nola's like historically bad with Stubbs.
Not that I think JT's a great pitch caller, but the chemistry matters. And he's probably far better than Stubbs.
I think that's all total bullshit too, personally.
Okay.
I don't think the catcher calls the game the way they used to. I think that it's much more give me the sign and I'll give the sign. I just think there's a comfort with Stubbs or with JT than there is with Stubbs.
Although I don't know, Stubbs might be getting pushed to the third catcher spot at this point.
He might get shot to the sun. I might fire him into the sun.
Well, how do we pronounce these names? Is it Marshawn?
I think
the only Marshawn I know plays for the Boston Bruins. That's about it.
And he's French Canadian, right?
Or
he's Canadian.
So. Yeah, he's Canadian. Yes. There's a D also at the end of it that you just don't pronounce it. It's Marshawn.
Yeah, it's silent. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm all in. I don't think they expected him to be, because I think he's played 23 career games or 20 career games.
We've seen him
before he came back up. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe they just didn't think he was like ready. I think they were waiting for him for next year. Personally, I think they were gonna move on from Stubbs after this year, because JT is a year older and Marshawn is a year older also, and they expected, because that's all the projections basically say is like Marshawn was, kind of going to be the backup next year. I think that was their plan.
He is a great arm. I mean, absolute
very
rocket
good
of a thrower today.
Yeah, and his bat's not bad, dude. At least not right now.
2 hits tonight, right?
3, I think.
Was it 3? I went back and forth between the game or whatever, but I watched the majority. But
he had 4 hits.
I saw the 2. He had 4 hits.
4 hits
I saw
tonight.
2 of them. Okay.
2 ribbies. Scored 2 runs. 4 for 4.
All right.
Yep.
Can he be the DJ too? Because that's all Stubbs does. So if we could just get rid of Stubbs, we don't need Stubbs anymore. We got Marshawn.
Yeah, I just think they know that JT is going to play a lot and Stubbs isn't going to play a ton, and he's a good locker room guy. He's a good locker room guy, but like,
I agree with that.
But I also don't think they need him for a great locker room either. Everything
I know
you
the locker room's
read-
pretty tight. I don't think they need that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that from things that you read from players that have come and gone in the last few years, they all say the same 2 names. And now that Hoskins is gone, the other 2 names there's always Hoskins and these 2 guys, but it's Schwarber and Harper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're the heart of the locker room of the clubhouse.
Agreed.
So I don't think you need Stubbs to be, I just think he's a nice add-on.
And as they get older, and maybe this happens when Schwarber's contract ends and walks away, but I think you're starting to see Stott and to a lesser extent Bohm get mixed into that locker room
for sure.
Well.
It's a good mix of youth with older guys.
Veterans.
Like I love seeing Stott and Turner. I love seeing Stott and Turner and Marsh, Turner and Bohm. I love that
they're a close group. Group.
I love that he's the older guy, Turner, and kind of like, I hate these. Like, not really like hate them, but like, it's like his little brothers kind of thing, like that little brother, big brother.
I think back to 08, right? During the 08, 09, up until 2011. I don't. They were winning a ton of games and it was fun. I don't know that I really saw them be a super close locker room.
I think it's. I don't know what their locker room was because I don't think it was as available to us
probably
as it is
fair.
Today.
Sure.
So, I think that whole locker room went behind Jimmy personally. But
I agree with that.
I think they went.
Chooch was probably in the mix too.
Sure.
Howard was probably in there a little bit, but other than that, I think I agree with you. Jimmy's probably.
I think as Jimmy went, the team went.
Yep.
Not that, I agree. I think there were other guys that played a factor. I just think we see this now, and I think 28-year-olds were different in 2008 than they are now. I think 32-year-olds, 33-year-olds are different in 2024 than they are in 2008. I think a 33-year-old in 2008 was much older than a 33-year-old now. I think like they say 40 is the new 30 kind of thing, and I think that really plays well in the locker room. I think that Turner and Schwarber and Castellanos and Harper are younger than what a 28 to 33-year-old was, 15, 20 years ago.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, because
I think that plays a factor.
Players came up much later than I feel like.
Well, at least for the Phillies, they did.
Well, yeah, but I feel like in general, in all sports, not even just baseball, I feel like all the sports, the age to come up has kind of gotten younger.
I think it depends on the sport, or depends on the player rather.
Yeah, I guess.
But, I mean, the Phillies waited forever for Howard, Utley.
Mm-hmm. Even Hamilton was fairly late, wasn't he?
24.
But he was also in college. It's much different.
Yeah, I think he was 23. He was on the. I just listened to an interview with him the other day. I think he was 23 when he came up. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's so much more accessible now.
Yeah,
that we see it. I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't know. What else you got? Anything?
I did have a quick thing I wanted to ask you.
All right. Phillies, now, are we changing the topic?
No, changing topic. Okay. Right. I want to talk a little Flyers.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of things, a lot of hypotheticals on Twitter. I'm seeing a lot of, what if we trade for this guy? What if trade for that guy? What if this is what
Fairyland type stuff?
No, not even that. Not even that.
Right.
I saw the tweet that you took from me, but
yeah, I did. Yes.
Not even that. I think that's years away from happening if it happens. But realistically, I'm just curious to see what do you think the Flyers look like going into next year? I saw a couple defensive pairings. I've seen some lines here and there that are hypothetical. I don't know who's available in free agency this year too. Like I'm curious to see, do they make a splash this year?
No, I don't think they make a splash. I think if they make a splash, it'll be Matvey Michkov, and it's obviously it's not a free agent contract. I think that would be the big splash if he comes over, which I think we're supposed to find out fairly soon. It was
in the next couple weeks, right?
They've been saying all along that they wanted to find out about Michkov in June. We're now in June. And I think they also wanted to find out before the draft, which is June 28th.
Right.
So theoretically, hopefully we find out before then.
Well, my computer's moving.
You're good. I have to look at the free agent list because I don't know for sure. But I read something today that I was not a fan of. And apparently they're open or they're having discussions with Eric Johnson about resigning for another year.
Defenseman, yeah.
Why?
The seventh guy.
Why? Like what? There are enough young guys in Lehigh Valley that should be able to take the jump to a seventh defenseman. And if he was good last year, if they acquired him, fine. He really wasn't.
Right.
I don't need to see Eric Johnson. I understand it would be for probably league minimum, but I don't need to see Eric Johnson. Give that to you're all about the process of developing these players, and there's enough young guys in here that could take the next step.
Let's say hypothetically, they bring him in to be the seventh defenseman, the guy that they scratch most nights. What do the other six look like?
So you have Sanheim, you have York,
Ristolainen.
Yeah, Ristolainen was really good last year before he got hurt. Didn't finish the season. That might have cost him a playoff spot when he got hurt.
Right.
Because he missed the last month or so of the season. So who was it? Ristolainen, York, Sanheim, Johnson. That's 4.
Well, let's say hypothetically he's the seventh guy.
Okay. Who else am I missing?
Sealer.
Yep, Sealer would be in there.
Are there any? Or do you think there are any other young guys that make that jump?
They just signed Adam Yinning to a 2-year extension.
What's his deal?
He's AHL. He's a fringe player right now.
Okay.
He'll probably start in the AHL next year. I'm actually kind of surprised. There was rumors he was going to go play in Europe next season, but I guess he's not. I'm looking at the list right now. Oh, so you still have Zamula. Oh, and Drysdale, which I should have got.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So let's do this again. So Drysdale, Ristolainen, York, Sanheim,
Zamula.
Who are the other two? Or one after Johnson or before Johnson? There's another guy, wasn't there?
York, Sanheim, Sealer, Drysdale. That's 4.
Sealer, that's who it was.
Yeah, okay. Zamola and then Ristolainen at 6.
And then now you're deciding potentially between what's his name, Yinning or Jinning or
Yinning, Adam Yinning,
and Johnson.
There's also Emil Andre that might be able to take the next step next year.
What are you expecting? Is really what I'm
move wise, or what am I expecting the Phillies to be next year?
The Flyers, but
oh, sorry, did I say Phillies?
Yeah, just strictly talking about defensive. Like, who do you think the six? Oh, we just named 8 or 9 guys. Like, who do you think are the 6 or 7 guys?
I think it's pretty much. I think that's the 6. I don't think they make a move.
Okay, so it's like we said: Sanheim, York, Sealer, Drysdale, Ristolainen,
and yeah. I'm sure he missed one again.
Didn't they just sign Yinning today or yesterday?
Yeah, the 2-year extension. Yep.
Okay. Well, how does that work? If where's he at?
It was probably he was in. I think did he play for the Phantoms last year? I think he might have, or he was alone in Sweden. One or the other. I forget exactly, but
Yeah, so with that it was a 2-year contract, right? Like $700,000 or something.
Probably a 2-way deal. Probably a minor league type deal.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I don't see why they give him a 1-year deal or a 1-way deal. Sorry. Just
but
because,
he has to come over, right? He has to come over.
Yes, he will play for the Phantoms. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you have the fringe guy, Andre.
Mm-hmm. He's still
possibly
young. He's 22 years old, something like that. 21.
Yeah, possibly Jack Johnson coming back.
Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson. Sorry, Jack Johnson's the musician.
There is a former NHL player named Jack Johnson.
Okay, maybe that's something enough too.
Play for the Blue Jackets.
So, what about forwards? What do we and goalie?
Goalie is going to be Fedotov and Urson.
Okay,
because they're both signed for next year.
Forward wise, let's say Michkov comes over.
Okay, now we're getting into it. So what does it look like?
Yeah, what do you think it looks like?
So you probably have like Couturier centering. I don't even know, Forrester, Michkov, Konechny, so kind of one of those guys. They're thin at center.
Yeah. No,
Morgan Frost,
no kidding.
maybe Morgan Frost, like either Couturier or Frost are your first or second line center. Then after that, it's like Paling and Lawton.
Yeah,
like it's pretty thin. But like, so let's look at free agents, because I honestly haven't looked.
Yeah.
At the free agent list, 2024 free agents. Let me see here. Steven Stamkos is the top of this list, but I don't see them.
Yeah, I would say let's look at like the realistic.
Yeah. Adam Henrique is like number 6 on this list.
I can't believe he's still playing. He's in the cup right now, right?
He's in the finals with Edmonton, yeah, but like he hasn't been great this year. So I mean, moving down, I'm trying to really look at centers like Tyler Johnson, not great. Elias Lindholm, for some reason, is 18th on this list, and so far I think he's better than anybody.
He used to play in Calgary, or
yep, he's in Vancouver now. But I think he's better than anybody I've named so far.
I thought he signed, didn't he?
I don't believe he signed yet.
Okay.
They signed Pedersen in the middle of the season, I believe.
And then weren't they like talking about trading him too? Pedersen.
I doubt it. I don't think they just signed him to a contract. They were talking about it before they signed him, and then they signed him.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yes. Gotcha. It was like they're pretty much
because they weren't sure if he would come to a deal. I got you.
Right. Yeah. But so far, Lindholm is the best name I've named, not named Stamkos.
Let's say hypothetically they bring in Lindholm. Where is he the first line? Is he a first line center?
It's probably better second line center.
Okay.
Like there really is no first line center on this list other than Stamkos. And if I'm Stamkos, I'm 33, 4 years old.
34, right.
I don't want to come to this Flyers team.
He probably stays in Tampa.
Probably. But he's also kind of sour on the franchise. The relationship isn't ending very great.
Yeah.
It could still end up there, but
yeah,
he wanted them to reach out to him for an extension last offseason, and they said we're not talking to you till after the season. And that he's like, I'm your captain. Like this is the second time. This is the second time you guys are going to take me to free agency.
He's probably the greatest Lightning player ever, right?
I don't know.
Who's better?
St. Louis up there.
I think
Cavier's up there.
I think he's better than Cavier. I think he's
probably. I think I.
St. Louis probably is the closest.
Yeah,
but I'd have to look at the numbers to tell you whether you're right or wrong.
All right. But yeah, I mean, if you get like Lindholm, I need to see what Couturier you're gonna get this year, because like Couturier was really good to start the year last year.
Yeah.
Fell off second half of the season, but he was coming off of a pretty major surgery and injury. So, like, now that he gets a full off season healthy, like, maybe he's just, maybe next season he's going to be good the entire season, and maybe you have your number one center back. I'm skeptical that that's going to happen, but
yeah,
maybe it could.
Let's say he's fully healthy and he gives 100% effort or close to it. I still don't know that he's a number one line center.
I agree. Because as great defensively as he is, I need my first line center to create offense.
Sure.
And then you can line match your second line with the top guys on their team. So this way you can try to shut them down.
So I pulled up St. Louis and Stamkos.
Okay.
All right. So look at goals. St. Louis, 365 career goals.
Okay. Not a big goal scorer. Stamkos. My guess is Stamkos has way more goals than
555.
Yeah. Okay. What about total points? Because Stamkos is never.
Go ahead.
St. Louis never really been a big goal scorer.
All right. So points. Stamkos 1,137. St. Louis 953.
Okay. All right.
Granted, Stamkos has played longer. No, I lied.
I doubt it.
Sorry, 16 years for St. Louis and 16 for Stamkos.
Okay.
It's the same amount.
All right.
Is there anything else?
Is he their franchise point scorer? I would have to guess yes.
Stamkos, I
Yes.
assume so. Tampa. I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. St. Louis is number 2. Or I'm sorry, Lecavalier is number 2. No, wait. Hold on.
For
That's games
goals?
played. Sorry.
For goals, Stamkos is 1, Lecavalier is 2, St. Louis 3. For assists,
Yep.
St. Louis is 1, Stamkos is 2, Hedman's 3.
I was looking at points.
For points,
St. Louis
Stamkos is 1, St. Louis 2, Lecavalier is 3.
Yep.
They give Nikita Kucherov at 4, who hasn't played as long as Stamkos. So, like, at some point, Kucherov's probably going to pass Stamkos if he stays with the Lightning and continues how great he is.
So Lecavalier in 1,000 played 1,037 games. Stamkos played 1,082.
Stamkos played 1,082.
Yeah.
And
Victor Hedman's number 2.
And Kucherov's played like 350 less games than Stamkos.
725, yeah.
So he's only played 725.
How the hell? Why are we we're talking about Tampa Bay?
This is what happens on this show.
Yeah.
We get sidetracked.
Pavel Kubino, wow.
Yeah, there's a name.
Flyers great.
At the end of basically all that to tell you, at the end of the day, Kucherov is going to be the best Lightning ever. I think he'll pass Stamkos.
Kucherov?
Assume who? Kucherov.
Yeah, how old is he?
How old is Kucherov? He is 31.
It's close. I don't know. If he
It's
was
close.
like 20, if he was like 27, I'd be like, oh yeah, like I think I would agree with that. I don't know,
If
man.
he keeps his total up, he had 100 points this year. I'm sorry, 144 points this year.
Yeah, he's a great player.
144 points this year. He's 31 years old. That's stupid to have 144 points. That's
No,
nuts.
he's incredible. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
But like that's like the wait, hold on. I'm looking at Stamkos.
It's like 300 points less than Stamkos. Like and this is all assuming Stamkos will leave. If Stamkos stays another 4 years in Tampa, it will be hard for Kucherov to catch him. But if Stamkos leaves this year, Kucherov just has to play like 2 more years, and he's catching that at this pace.
But also at the age of 30, that's the first time he's done anything near 144 points.
Nah, he did
Is that
128 a few years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, but that's still not even close to 144.
Sure,
144 is
yeah.
a lot.
It's stupid. Yeah, it's stupid.
Even 128 is a lot.
It is.
But like, he's only over 100 4 times in his career. So like, to maintain that, I don't know. Maybe. I think it'll be close. I think Stamkos will still edge him out though. Personally.
Okay. Also, like, to completely change topics, did Dallas just not show up tonight?
They didn't show up the entire series
Fair.
except Game 4.
Fair enough. Did anything else about the Flyers? Because really, like, the big thing surrounding the Flyers is Mitchkov coming over, and until you get an answer for that,
I think the
you don't
draft is
know.
pretty interesting too.
it is. We'll talk about it as
Because-
it closer. I haven't
yeah,
done
yeah.
all my deep dives yet for
Yeah.
the draft and who I think they should take.
More so for the trade talk and
Yeah,
what they could possibly give up and or get and
it's a pretty
move up, move back.
it's a pretty good defensive draft. So like,
Okay.
chances are I'm gonna want them to get a defenseman.
Okay.
Unless somebody falls
in what,
to
2
them,
weeks
but
or 1 week,
that's
2
the
weeks?
28th. We originally were going to do a live draft show like we did last year, but I actually have a hockey game that night, so I can't do it. And yeah, Mark ended up just shelving the idea. So
Way
maybe
to
we'll
go.
say that for next year. Yeah, I know, dude. It's weird. I feel like the draft never happens on like a Friday night. I feel like it's usually
It
Thursday.
used to be,
Friday.
right?
I don't know.
Because
Was it last year? I have to look at it last year.
It used to be that the NBA draft would be Thursday and then the NHL draft would be Friday. Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, whatever it was.
I have to look to see what it was last year, but I'm pretty sure it was a Thursday last year.
Okay. No, they've definitely changed it. But it used
yeah.
to be back in the day, like 10 years ago, it used to be when I was much more into the NHL, like I remember always watching the NBA draft on Thursday, and then the following night was always because the NBA draft is one night.
Right.
But yeah, and then the NHL
Which
draft will be the next.
aren't they doing 2 nights now for the NBA? Why does that make sense? That makes no sense.
I don't think they are they?
They're trying to. Or I don't know if
I don't
they're
know.
official, but they're trying to. Or who gives a flying fuck about the second round of
Who
the
gives
NBA
a
draft?
flying fuck after the first 5 picks?
Well, that's true too. I might give you 10. The top 10 picks.
Depends on the year.
But like, why are you dedicating a whole entire night to round 2?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's official. I'm gonna have to look this up.
I know last year they did it. It wasn't. It was still one night, but I'm not sure.
The first round of the NBA draft takes place on Wednesday, June 26th, followed by the second round on Thursday, June 27th. So yes, it is official.
I guess they feel like they'll make more money. I don't know.
It's always a money thing. I'm sure
You make more money on 2 nights instead of one. People watch the first
more
10
ads.
or 15
I'm sure you could
picks.
sell.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why you need 2 nights for 2 rounds. But whatever. That's that's the world we live in with money and sports and all that.
For sure.
But you got anything else before we get out of here?
Nothing. No. The only thing I want to say is I thought it was a crime that it was Father's Day yesterday. Which happy Father's Day. We've obviously already talked yesterday, but I think it's a crime that they didn't have any sports on other than baseball yesterday.
There was nothing.
That's just me.
Nothing.
So that's all I have. That's all I had to end on.
Yeah. Fair. I mean, what other sports would you have? I mean, I guess the NBA or.
Well, I'm saying they should have planned it where having one of the NBA or hockey game.
Okay, fair enough.
The NBA or the NHL finals on.
Fair enough. I agree with you. And for that, we will get out of here. Hopefully, maybe next week you have a charger or you fix your computer or something,
Or if
Whisper
not, we'll be
Sweet
doing
Nothing.
this all summer. Yeah.
Whisper Sweet Nothing's into it, and I'm sure you get it to work.
Yeah.
We're going to get out of here. We will see everybody next Monday. See you then.